Imagine a world where the most vulnerable beings among us are subjected to pain and suffering for the sake of human progress. Picture innocent creatures enduring unimaginable trials and their silent cries echoing unheard in the halls of laboratories. Consider the moral dilemma we face when our scientific research comes at the expense of sentient lives. As a society, it is our responsibility to protect the defenseless species that are taken advantage of in the name of scientific advancement. Today, I will be informing you about testing on animals. This speech is important because animals are subjected to painful and often fatal testing against their will. As stated by ALDF.org, a site that actively fights for and protects the rights of animals, on August 7, 2018, animals are subjected to horrifically painful experiments, oftentimes without painkillers, with little regulation or meaningful oversight of the labs in which they are experimented on. And for all that pain, experts say that the testing is not effective. So today I'll be going over the history, effects, and alternatives to animal testing. First, I will be going over the evolution of animal testing by discussing how it started and has increased over the years. The first known use of animals in scientific experimentation dates back to 500 BC in ancient Greece. Knowing that animal testing dates back thousands of years, I find it difficult that we have not invented a better way to discover scientific findings. On June 8, 2021, in accordance to beonchip.com, a company that specializes in vitro research to reduce the use of animal testing, they state, during that period, vivisections of animals were a normal practice to acquire knowledge on the mechanisms and functions of living organisms. The use of animals in scientific research and product development increased throughout the 20th century, peaking between the 1970s and the 1980s. Relative to when animal testing began, I find it shocking that the peak occurred in such recent times. As reported by aboutanimaltesting.uk, a website that has a unique reference point on informed discussions on animal welfare and animal testing, on August 17, 2023, they claim animal testing peaked mostly during the 1980s and has since been on the decline. Now that I have reviewed the history of animal testing, next I will discuss the effects of it. Second, I will go over the issues by explaining how animals are mistreated in laboratories and how the results of the experiments are often inconclusive. In labs, animals are crammed into cages for extended hours and deprived of their natural habitat and environment that they are accustomed to. This fact reminds me of a protest I saw involving the captivity and use of chimpanzees on testing, an intelligent animal that is capable of feeling depression and post-traumatic stress. According to humanesociety.org, an organization that fights all forms of animal cruelty, on April 15, 2022, they go on to explain that animals in laboratories can associate humans with painful situations, and with no way to hide or get away, they panic whenever a person approaches their cage or freeze with fear when they are taken into treatment rooms. The outcome of countless animal experiments is in no way useful for advances in any aspect. I find this heartbreaking, as these animals that were already sacrificed and abused are experiencing it for no reason. As stated by PETA.org, another organization fighting the practice of abusing and neglecting animals for research purposes, published on January 31, 2018, fewer than 10% of highly promising basic science discoveries enter routine clinical use within 20 years. Now that I have reviewed the effects of animal testing, I will next talk about the alternatives to it. Lastly, I will go over remedies by discussing the use of human volunteers and stem cells. The use of human volunteers is a better alternative because they can consent to the treatment rather than forcing it upon them. To me, this is a better option than testing on animals because it is more ethical, as the patient can decide if they want to undergo the tests. On February 1, 2023, PharmaNewsIntel.com, a website that provides coverage of the pharmaceutical industry, focusing on major trends in drug discovery, development, approval, commercialization, explains, in other research areas such as nutrition, substance use, and pain management, consenting humans can help replace animal testing models. Stem cells are a low to zero risk alternative that can also be used by scientists to see the effects of studies done on human tissue. I find this very interesting, as there is a low risk to high reward ratio when using stem cells in a laboratory setting. As reported by labiotech.eu, a website that provides the biotech community with current and relevant information about the life sciences industry, on June 24th, 2022, they claim a team at GE Healthcare is developing drug discovery assays that use human cells to predict toxicity. Today, I discuss the history, effects, and alternatives of animal testing. These innocent creatures enduring unimaginable trials do not deserve the exploitation transpiring behind laboratory doors. As we discover the complexities of medical research, it's crucial to pause and reflect on the ethical implications of our actions. For the choices we make today shape the world we leave for future generations. Thank you.